11 weeks out from Ironman Hamburg. My first full Ironman. A full 226 kilometers. And honestly, there is so much that hasn't been figured out. I have to change my flights. I have to refigure the bike logistics. And for the last 4 weeks, I was just sitting and waiting on a visa because it's that one thing that determines if I'll be even allowed to travel to the race. And through all of that, I still had to wake up every single day and train because the race doesn't know about the visa. June 7th will be on June 7th. When you race abroad, it looks like, hey, you've just registered for the race and you can probably book your flights and leave. But as an Indian athlete, it is not the same. You have to go through the entire visa process, especially if you're going to the Schengen states. And in that situation, things become a lot more complicated because you are training for probably the biggest race of your life, but you are not sure if you'll be able to go there. And I am telling this after multiple races in Europe and after multiple visa processes. So it's not like it's my first time, and the anxiety and the uncertainty is always the same because you have no idea why or for what purpose they might actually not accept your application. Let me just outline the whole process. So, ideally, 4 to 5 months before your race, you go and do your application, book an appointment. In India, it works through VFS. So, you take an appointment with them, submit your documents, and then it goes to the consulate where the process is like your documents are reviewed, and if they feel that there is some document that's missing, you get some emails and you make sure that your entire documents are in, and after that they send you your passport back with either the stamp or a rejection letter. So that's where it becomes interesting because typically for an Ironman, we register almost a year. So for this race in June 2026, I registered in June 2025. That's almost a year in advance. And your visa process starts obviously way earlier. Even though it says, hey, 15 days is what it takes, I started way earlier so that I can like put this behind me and focus on the training part. Because training for an Ironman itself is brutal, and then there's this layer of uncertainty that gets added. So every Indian athlete and obviously a lot of other international athletes go through this, and it's a very interesting spot to be because you're applying as a sports person. And in this scenario, you're not a professional sports person, but your purpose of visit is sport. It's not tourism, which is obviously a slightly more usual way of application. And you have to justify the sports side and justify that you're not going to be making money through the sport in that particular location. It becomes a very interesting spot. But what has worked for me is always the sports visa. I have tried the tourism visa once, and I'm not sure if that's the reason or if the documents were a little bit off or whatever that is. The first time I applied to Finland for my world championships as a tourist, that application fell off. So after that, I've only stated that my purpose of visit is sport, and I've taken the category of sport and I've applied through that, and it has always worked for me. And if you ask me what are the three best things to keep in mind to ensure you can crack that visa, I would say firstly, make sure your bank balance is hitting the right numbers. I've always had 3 to 6 lakhs at least in my account when I have applied. The second thing is that make sure all your documentations are in line. It really helps to be employed to a certain organization because then you have your salary slips in line, you have your NOC or leave sanction letter in line. All of these things are really critical and they look at that. And if there's something that's missing, try to see if you can cover that in your cover letter as to why it's missing. So that can help add a lot more credibility to your whole. So I did go ahead with applying to Germany, and that's where everything kind of, started coming together. I know it sounds like, hey, it's just a visa, small paper, and application. A lot of you might have just, been there multiple times, got through it, and all of that. But when a massive milestone of your life is laying behind that, it becomes a lot more important, and it just hits very differently. And for me, I think personally, I have taken a lot of choices differently to be able to do this particular race. And that's why it felt so different. Those 30 minutes between the guy entering the society gate to him giving me that passport envelope, everything came to my mind. All the jobs that I rejected, all the training that I have been doing in the past, all the things that I took an exit from. I exited Team Ultra. I moved out from a home in the middle of the city. I am staying way outside, away from family, away from everyone I know, just to be able to do this. And it marked a very, very important milestone in my life. And I don't even know if I'm going to be doing an Ironman after this, because I've decided to take some massive career transition moves after this. I will always stay fit, I'll always try to compete, but doing an Ironman requires a very different kind of time commitment, energy commitment, and financial commitments. So I wanted to see if I can make that step, take the step, finish it, and then, go back in my life and, have that career move and step up over there. So everything just came into my memory, and I just froze for a little bit of time, and it felt like, oh my God, it's that moment of truth, like everything's coming together. Do you think it's going to happen? And I'm always that person who prepares for the worst. So I had already picked up another race in Australia. It's Ironman Australia, which happens in October. I was like, okay, nothing works out. I will just do plan B in Australia, go there in October. But that would delay my career plans a lot more. And yeah, so be it. I was mentally ready to accept that. But that said, there's a lot of money that has gone into this, from the race registrations, training costs, nutrition costs, obviously the visa charges. There's a lot of time and energy that has already been invested. And it's not like this is my first race, right? I've done 8 Ironman 70.3s in the past, and all of that was something that is not normal, especially coming from India, where sport, especially physical sport, is not a very common thing. Swimming in the open waters and the oceans is not a very common thing. So, having to do all of this, for me, it was about inspiring more people to take up big challenges, chase them, and do whatever it takes to get through. And that's one big thing that drives me. And I want to slowly try to impact more people at a bigger scale. And that's where my career move and transitions have been, coming from. So I wanted to make it happen. It's hard, and doing hard things helps you grow, helps you chase something that you're not sure if you can do it. Even today, I can give it in writing saying, I don't know if I can do this, but I will do whatever I have in my capacity and control to make it happen. So it was Wednesday, and I got the notification that Bluedart is coming with my passport. I got a notification on the Notebroker app stating the guy has arrived at the society gate. And from that moment to the moment the passport was actually in my hands, I was literally freaking out. Like, internally, just completely freaking out. And I don't think I could actually show it on my face. I was completely expressionless. But I knew that this was the moment of truth. And this would truly reflect if I was going to be able to race. And after weeks, this is literally episode 8, and the biggest roadblock or biggest uncertainty for me, if this series or if this whole path would even materialize, dependent on this one moment. I've received a passport back after a visa application, and I know how it works. So basically, if there is a letter inside the envelope, it means rejection. So they send the passport along with a letter stating the reason for rejection. But if the passport arrives on its own without a letter, that means the visa has been stamped. The guy arrived and I was just standing there hoping, please, just no letter, no letter. I cut it open and there was no letter. So once it arrived, I just sat there for a couple of minutes and I was like, oh my god, okay, this is real. It's finally going to happen. All my 7 episodes of Road to Ironman Hamburg are not wasted. I mean, I didn't think of that, but it's finally happening, I think. That's what came into me, and a little bit of disbelief, a little bit of, you know, okay, hey, we need to really focus on this. Because my entire few months have been anchored towards this one milestone. And through all of this, the 4 weeks of waiting, it was also my birthday week. So a couple of days ago, I did a full 4 hour outdoor ride, a long run, and a 3 kilometer swim in my apartment's pool just to mark my birthday weekend. So that's where I am right now. Hamburg is 11 weeks out. I'm still yet to figure the flights to it. I've kind of figured the accommodation, but I'm trying to see if there's something better. But the visa has arrived, so Ironman Hamburg is happening. It's my first full Ironman, 226 kilometers. Let's see what we've got. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye bye till then.